Okay, I did a video on this once before, but I want to remake it, and I'm going to delete the old one. But this is something that really has bothered me since I was a kid. And I don't care if you're conservative, liberal, centrist, whatever, but I want to know why it is people think that saying it was the times is a logical excuse. I mean, when we talk about anything from the past, especially racism, people say, oh, it was the time. No, it was the people. See, people change the times. You change your own attitude. We talk about slavery, genocide, wounded knee, and all those things, of course, are horrible, and there's no excuse for it to have happened. The thing to do is to learn from it and to not repeat these things. But using the excuse, it was the times, that's not an excuse. It's never the times to do things like that. It was totally the decision of the people who made it happen. And I bring this up because I don't like seeing anyone praise Andrew Jackson, probably the most racist president that's ever set foot in the White House. And, he had over 200 slaves that were tortured for such minor things like breaking a couple of eggs. And he was the one who ordered the Trail of Tears, which was called the Indian Removal Act, but of course today we call it the Trail of Tears. And people say, oh, well, it was just the times. No, it wasn't. It was his hatred that did these things. It was him, no one else. And as for the military, some of them might have shared that hatred, but some may have hated doing it. And unfortunately, they really didn't have a choice, or else they would have been hanged for treason. So the ones who were against this were really in a no-win situation. But I'm not saying we should forget the past. That's what the liberals want to do, and we shouldn't forget the past. We need to remember it and make sure it doesn't happen again. When I read the autobiography of Eva Hart, let me quickly tell you, for those of you who don't know, Eva Hart was a 7-year-old little girl who survived the Titanic disaster. And you should read her autobiography. There's actually 2 of them. One of them she spoke it to someone and he did the writing, and the other she did herself with the help of another writer. But the one I read was called A Girl Aboard Titanic. But near the end of the book, and in several interviews before her death, she said a number of times the best way to honor the memory of those who died is to learn from the disaster and make sure it doesn't happen again. And up to this point, we've been very good at it. People go on cruises all the time, and although ships still sink on occasion, we've not had a disaster with that kind of loss of life again. So I think we are honoring the memory of the Titanic victims by making sure it doesn't happen again. But that's how you honor the memory of everyone who's died in every horrible situation. We learn from it and do what we can to be sure it never happens again. But if you keep using the damn excuse, it was the times, we don't learn anything. You just make excuses, like a little kid who goes to school and says, the dog ate my homework. Even that's a better excuse than, it was the times. So, I don't have children right now, but if and when I do, they will learn not to say that. They will learn that it's the people who are responsible, not the times. People are the ones who change the times. We change our culture, we change our traditions, we change fashion, entertainment, so on. We're the ones who make these changes, not the times. Stop saying it was the times. If you truly believe it was the times, then you're a fool.